Hello. This is David Cashman from SEB Housing. This is the lottery for the affordable units at the Edison in Waltham. Looks like we have 4 households who are attending via the YouTube live stream, and we also have 1 household on the phone. It's not quite 6 o'clock, so I'm going to wait just a few more minutes in case there are some other households that are going to join. And in just a few minutes, we'll get started. I can give you a little bit of background about how this is going to go and what to expect moving forward. I can tell you the good news now that there are more units available than there are applicants. So everyone who's in the lottery is going to get an opportunity to move forward, which is great. This will really kind of only determine the order that households will get to move forward, and so who's going to get their first choice of their most desirable unit. But everyone is going to get the opportunity to move forward, which is not always the case with lotteries that we run. So I imagine that's good news for everyone
this is
involved.
Janet, and my number is A003.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Hello.
So I think hi Janet. This is Dave from SEB Housing. So we have 2 households that are on the conference call, and then we have some other households who are joining by live stream on the computer. And we're going to start in just a minute here, okay?
Oh, okay. Take your time.
But both of you have raised the point, which is good. And so now I'm speaking to everyone, both the 2 households who are on the phone and the households who are watching via live stream. If anyone does not know their lottery application number, please let me know. If you do know it, great. I actually don't want to know it. I'd prefer you just kept it to yourself. So if you don't know your lottery number, please let me know. I know the 2 households on the phone know theirs, which is great, and no one. And by the way, are the people who are watching this, the 5 folks who are watching via live stream, can you hear me okay? Is there any issue?
Yes.
If you could just, so you're watching on the live stream and you can hear me on the live stream?
Yeah, YouTube is about 5 seconds behind you on voice and phone right now.
Okay. All right, great. So it's 6:01, so we'll just kind of jump in here. Again, thanks, Jake, appreciate it. This is the lottery for the affordable units at the Edison in Waltham. My name is David Cashman. I work at SEB Housing. You know us by now. You got through our kind of rigorous application process, which is great. I know that it's probably akin to, some people say, getting a mortgage. There's a lot that we require, and I hope you know that everything that we asked for are things that we asked for because that's what the program requires that we ask for these documents. We're certainly not trying to unnecessarily request things that aren't required, but we do know it's a lot, and it's great that you've gotten this far, so you should be commended for that. I'm sure everyone's excited. As I said just a few moments ago, everyone who's in the lottery is going to get an opportunity to move forward, so that's great. Really, all we're kind of establishing tonight then is the order in which you're going to be able to move on to the next step in selecting units. Now, as you probably know by now, we, SEB Housing, we are not the management team. We're not the leasing office. We're an outside consultant who works with the leasing office to facilitate the lottery and do it in a fair, transparent manner, and to work with all the applicants to make sure that only qualified households are in the lottery. There are, as you know, 1-bedrooms and 2-bedrooms in this program at the Edison. There are 15 1-bedroom units so there's going to be 3 waiting lists. And these waiting lists I will send to you this evening. I believe everyone except 1 household had email. So everyone who has email, I will email you the waiting list later this evening. The 1 household who does not have email, I will put a hard copy in the mail. And actually, everyone, even if you do have email, will get a hard copy because the city had asked that we do that. So you'll get an email and you'll get a hard copy. The waiting lists will have the actual order that households will get to move forward in the next step in this process. The next step in this process after tonight is to make an appointment with the leasing office and to apply for a lease. If you're eligible, you'll be able to select from the available units on the waiting list that you're on. And then once you select one of those and you're eligible, you'll be able to sign a lease and you'll be done with us for at least another year. As you know, we have determined that everyone in the lottery is program eligible. We have made absolutely no determination if anyone in the lottery is lease eligible. Hopefully that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone at this point, but if it does, just please be aware you have been screened to be program eligible. That has nothing to do with whether you're lease eligible. I imagine the leasing office is going to want to look at your credit history and maybe your query to make sure that you meet their requirements for lease eligibility. As you know from our informational materials, there are some units that have a priority for local preference. Those are the one-bedroom units. No one who applied for a two-bedroom unit indicated they were local preference, so there's just going to be one two-bedroom list where everyone will be on that one two-bedroom list. For the local preference one-bedroom units, households of similar sizes, the households who are local preference will get a slight priority over households who were not. So I have to do two drawings tonight. I have to do a local preference drawing followed by a general drawing. But I also have to do a preliminary drawing because there were 4 households in the lottery who indicated that they qualified for local preference. Only one of those households indicated they were a minority. That gives a minority percentage of 25%. Which is less than the surrounding area of 27%. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take every minority household who isn't local preference, and I believe there were 5. I will put them in the lottery box. I will select one of those households. That household will then effectively become a local preference household. So then I will have 5 households in the local preference lottery. I will draw them out one by one. I'll call their names as I go. I'm sorry, I'll call their numbers as I go. I don't know anyone's name associated with their number. I'll call the numbers as I go. So I'll draw 5 numbers out of the box for the local preference lottery. Once we're done with that, I will take those 5 names, add them to the 10 other names who weren't local preference, and then I will draw all 15 names out of the box, and that will be our general lottery drawing. Once I've done that, after we finish up here tonight, I will sort the results. I will create the waiting lists. Those waiting lists will be populated with your application number, and those waiting lists will determine the order that you're going to get to move forward in applying for a lease. So I know there's a couple extra households who've joined since we first started. So for anyone who joined after I previously asked, let me just make sure before we start here. Does anyone not know their lottery application number? If you know it, great. You don't have to respond. I just want to make sure that everyone has their number. All right, great. Does anyone have any questions before we start?
No.
Anyone on the phone call? You good? You've heard enough of me blathering. Just get on with the lottery. Good? Online, everyone, enough blathering. Dave, just get on with it. Good. Okay. So I'm going to swing around here so you can see. Do my best to kind of keep this all. This is our very fancy state-of-the-art lottery box.
I thought the computer did that.
Yeah. So
I did. I thought, tell me the computer picked them.
Sometimes we do a random number generator via the computer when we have like hundreds of households in the lottery, but that's sort of an
Like bingo.
yeah, that's sort of an exception to the general process where we pick it out of the box. Okay, so as I said, there were not a sufficient number of minority households in the local preference drawing, so I have to add one. So at this moment, I am taking other minority households who were not local preference. There were 4 of them. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I will put them in the lottery box, put on the top, and then I'm going to shake this around. I will be picking only one of these, only one. Okay, so the one household, the one number is A001. A001. So what this just established is this household is effectively now a local preference household. That's all I just did right there. So I'm going to add that to my local preference lottery households. And we'll just put these down here for a second. Now I'm going to take the other minority households who were not selected. I will add them to the general pile, which I will do next. Okay. So now I have my 5 local preference households. Okay. Put them in the box. This is going to be our local preference. Shake it up. All right. People watching are probably sufficiently dizzy now. This is the first pick of the local preference drawing A008. A008. Next number where is it? There we go. A009.
Yes.
A009.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, remember, you don't know what that means just yet. Okay, you don't know what that means just yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Where's the champagne?
Next number A006.
Yes.
A0.
3.5 years I put up with your construction.
A.
3.5 years.
A015. A015. Again, that's great. Everyone is going to be moving forward, so everyone is going to get the opportunity for the next to move on to the next step. And the last household drawn in the local preference drawing is A001. Okay, A001. So that was quick. I know there are only 5 households. That's the local preference drawing. All right, we just did it. Now I'm going to do the general drawing. That is every household who wasn't local preference and every household who was local preference. And if you're confused by the system, you should be. It is not very intuitive. And then you layer on the fact that even after I do this drawing, I have to sort the results. So the precise order that I'm drawing them out of the box doesn't even necessarily tell you the exact order you're going to be on the waiting list. So again, I will send those waiting lists this evening after the lottery. That's what's going to tell you the order you're going to get to move forward. I'm just going to count these 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I have all 15 households that are in the lottery. I'm going to put them in the box. Take it up. Okay, now we're going to do the general drawing. First number selected in the general drawing, A010. A010. Next number, A001. Next number, A008. A014. A004. Next number is A006. A011. Sorry, I didn't show all those ones. I forgot. I can show them again after if anyone would like me to. A015, A015. A002, A002. Okay, six numbers left. A013, A013. Next number is A009, A009. Next number is A007, A007. Next number, A012. Okay, there should be two left. Next number, A003. And the last number selected from the general drawing is A005. A005. All right, so that concludes the lottery drawing. Does anyone have any questions? As I said before, I will be putting together the waiting lists after we conclude this. Those waiting lists will have everyone's lottery application number on them. They will be in order from top to bottom, that households will get the opportunity to move forward in the next step in this process, which is meeting with the leasing office, looking at units, applying for a lease, and then hopefully signing a lease. And you will get that by email before the end of the night. And I will also be putting them in the hard mail to everyone. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone not here where their number was picked and want me to repeat it?
Oh, you did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm good to go.
Thank you.
I'm good to move in.
All right. So anyone happy to take any questions? I don't see any. So hopefully things were clear. And again, I will be sending everyone materials later this evening.
Great.
So without...
Thanks so much, Dave.
You got it. Have a great evening. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, and for households who joined by live stream, thanks for joining. You can expect to hear from me in a couple of hours with the waiting lists and with some other informational materials that just kind of give you a bit of more background on how many applicants there were for each list in case you're interested. So thanks again and have a great evening. Good night.